This is the art of the post. Wealth consists not in... I were again beginning my... The ascent to the highest, if there are no dogs in heaven. Bread is the first necessity.
Your Grace, we have obtained great...
Each of us is carving us. Tactics mean doing what? that life assured. Invincibility lies. Normal people believe the poets have been May the forces of evil become... Everything has its limit.
This Ukrainian content creator only showed support for her country, but now she's getting backlash after people found out the truth about her identity. It all started when she shared this wholesome video showing places of her hometown decimated by war.
I'm Ukrainian. This is my card. I'm Ukrainian. This is my church. I'm Ukrainian, and this is my bridge. I'm Ukrainian, and this is my gas station.
She informed her followers of what it's like to live in Ukraine and how they handle their day-to-day lives. What's questionable about her videos is that she's wearing army fatigues, as if she herself is part of the army. People call her a psyop and using her social media to push the military agenda. And although it's true that she's really from Ukraine, apparently she's now living her life abroad. People discovered that she's now living in LA and owns luxury cars while living a lavish lifestyle. People are furious that she's posting about Ukraine while simultaneously posting about buying designer clothes. This Ukraine...
Probably one of the biggest struggles is that access to money. And that for me was the first time.
know, when you look at Zelensky's face, you understand that discussion behind the closed doors was not so polite, because they are so rude. They don't respect people of Ukraine.
Maybe it was not a very diplomatic conversation, but it was very sincere. We're trying to tell about what's going on. Unfortunately, for some reason, President Trump has a bit of a wrong idea.
From the side, looks like they support Russia and they ignore everything regarding the war in Ukraine, the Russian-Ukrainian war, and they think like, okay, we can trade, we can deal, we can forget it, but we can't.
Не ми граємося, не Україна грається Третьою світовою війною. Ні. Насправді ми розуміємо, що Україна більше схоже на те, що нас використовують в цій грі як якусь розмінну монету.
Я думаю, что Трамп, наверное, человек, который не слышит никого, кроме себя. Наверное, так. И больше никого слышать не хочет.
Думаю, що Трамп вже зрозумів, що Зеленський – це той президент, який просто так не здасться, і він не такий простий, як здається.
Я искренне считаю, что действительно могло быть более дипломатичнее, но с человеческой точки зрения я понимаю эту версию, потому что то, что в принципе в каком тоне пошел диалог с Трампом и Венсом, все к этому шло. Да, можно было бы дипломатичнее, но есть что есть, будем дальше разгребаться с Европой. Надеюсь, США тоже будут хорошие отношения.
should Keir Starmer cancel Donald Trump's state visit and his audience with the King? But for many people, they ask the question, why did Agent Orange get a second state visit in the first place? So it's likely to grow in number those who believe it should be cancelled. However, Penny Mordaunt, the former Conservative MP, certainly doesn't think so. Here she was appearing on Newsnight for some reason.
The only way that we will get a fair peace from this situation.
And Penny, let me ask you, you're a great monarchist who held the sword during the coronation for King Charles III. Should the planned state visit for King Charles to the United Kingdom go ahead after what happened tonight?
Absolutely, it should. The United States is still our partner. It wants to work with us. It wants to work with European partners. It's been a difficult day, but we all have to push through that and keep our eyes on the prize, which is a fair and lasting peace in Europe. If we don't do that, and if we don't back it up with hard power, we are going to be in a worse situation in future years.
Okay, wait a minute. You honestly believe, after what we've seen this week, that Donald Trump is a partner of the United Kingdom? That Donald Trump is a partner of Europe? Like, his administration said we don't want to have troops on the ground. We don't want to get involved in Ukraine. Now, Donald Trump has sort of flipped on that, where he said that, well, if he gets this mineral deal, he will he'll continue to help Ukraine, but that's dependent on whether he gets this mineral deal. Like, Donald Trump on the one hand says he wants to stop the fighting because he believes in the idea that people shouldn't be killed. But on the other hand, he's saying, well, the killing can continue if I don't get my mineral deal. This is not somebody you can work with. Now, the other point, of course, the main one here is, should the state visit be cancelled? Should Keir Starmer say to Donald Trump, look, you know, you treated Zelensky with nothing but contempt. Why should we go ahead with a state visit? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there should have been a second state visit for Donald Trump. I understand why Starmer is doing it, pandering to this man-child, hoping that, you know, give him what he wants and we can get something out of this. We can avoid tariffs, maybe. Maybe we'll have some sort of fake commitment that I can sell to the public when it comes to Ukraine. But Donald Trump is completely unreliable. I think there should be hints about maybe cancelling the trip, cancelling this state visit. Because then perhaps Donald Trump would wake up and go, oh, actually, I'd really like to have this, so maybe I should start treating people with respect, or at least temporarily. He's not going to really treat people with respect because he doesn't give a crap about them. He only cares about himself. So maybe it could be used as leverage, but I don't see that happening. I don't see Starmer hitting Trump over the head with this and saying, look, treat others with respect or you're not going to get your state visit. It's a sad state of affairs where the Prime Minister has to pander to a man-child in order to have him operate like a human being. And then when he treats somebody who's literally fighting for his life, fighting for his nation's survival, where you have this man-child treat him with nothing but contempt, we're not able to push back. We're not able to call Trump out. You know, an ally is supposed to say, no, we shouldn't go down this road. A friend is supposed to say, stop, you're acting like a fool. So there is no special relationship, there is no partnership, there is an attempt to keep Trump in a box for a short period of time until something else can be sorted out, until another solution can be found. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. And finally, do you think this state visit will be cancelled?
At the start of this made-for-TV debacle at the White House today, the President and Vice President J.D. Vance screamed at our ally Vladimir Zelensky and berated him with Russian government talking points. When this happened today in Washington, there's a couple things that stuck out. First of all, at the very start of this photo op, they had all the press in the room. Trump was asked right at the outset when he last spoke with Vladimir Putin. He said, quote, a couple of days ago, which was news because the U.S. government had said nothing about Donald Trump speaking with Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. So that's new. He used to say, I'm not allowed to talk about that. Now he's admitting that he talks to Putin all the time, even when the U.S. government doesn't release any information about those calls like they do with all other foreign leaders. Second was the truly bizarre revelation that Russian state-controlled media, for some reason, was in the Oval Office today when this scene happened with Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, to be clear, the Trump White House will not allow the Associated Press or Reuters into the Oval Office to cover White House events anymore, but somehow TASS media, Kremlin-controlled Russian state media, somehow made their way into the Oval Office for this berating of the Ukrainian president today, and Russian state media was in the Oval Office somehow live streaming from the event. Afterwards, look at this bizarre statement from the White House, attributed to an unnamed White House official. Quote, TASS was not on the approved list of media for today's pool. As soon as it came to the attention of press office staff that he was in the Oval, he was escorted out by the press secretary. He is not on the approved list for the press conference. He's not on the approved list. I have no idea how he got in there. To live stream for Kremlin-controlled state media the President and Vice President of the United States screaming at Ukraine's president and berating him with Russian talking points. We don't know how the Kremlin guy got in here. It was weird. He just wandered in. I mean, people do. It's a free country. People do just wander into the Oval Office. A very radical thing is happening in our country. It is not only radical in the sense that it is a large directional change, right? Switching sides in a war, now standing against our allies of the last 80 years, now siding with Russia instead. I mean, no longer siding with the free world, now siding with the authoritarian governments of the world. Like, it's not just radical in that it is a 180-degree directional change. It is also radical in the sense that it is really radically unpopular with the American people. I mean, you can see that in the polling. Quinnipiac poll this month. Should the U.S. trust Vladimir Putin? Yes, 9%. No, 81%. Here's another one, the Economist YouGov poll out this month. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable view of Vladimir Putin? The American public say favorable 11%, unfavorable 78%. The American people are not clamoring for us to ally ourselves with Vladimir Putin. Right? You can see it very clearly in the polling. And it begs the question, well, okay, who wants this? Who voted for this? Why are we doing this? If the American people don't want this, why are we doing it? Who says we should do this? Who's making us do this? And why? And for whose benefit? You can see the same dynamic in the bewildered and outraged questions that Americans are asking their Republican members of Congress at these town halls, which Republicans are now realizing they better not do anymore. They're asking their Republican senators and their Republican members of Congress, what the heck is going on? What is going on here? But let's be clear. I mean, what's going on here is pretty obvious at this point. Because this is all really good news for somebody. It's not the American people for whom it's good. It's not our allies for whom it's good. And this is nothing that anyone campaigned on, and it is nothing that anyone has any political mandate for at all. And so why are we doing it? And what are we going to do about it? That's what we have to decide.
guys, the fiasco on Friday where President Zelensky sat in the Oval Office and took abuse from both Donald Trump and J.D. Vance included some frankly shocking statements about the Russian leader, Vladimir Putin. Here a journalist posed the question to Trump about the risk of the Russians not respecting any agreement Trump would sign with them. At first the president didn't hear or understand the question, but then when it was clarified to him, he let drop a bit of a bombshell. Have a listen.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a conversation.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
So, oh my goodness, so Vladimir Putin is not going to break any international agreement because he respects Donald Trump. So Zelensky doesn't have to worry about military support or some sort of deterrent because the ultimate deterrent is Donald Trump getting upset. Is that something that he can return home to the people of Ukraine with and say, look, we've signed this agreement where we're going to have peace with Russia, but don't worry, they're not going to invade again like they did before. They're not going to break any more international agreements because Donald Trump has said that they respect him.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war.
Okay, so he's suggesting we need to have some sympathy for Vladimir Putin because he went through hell and I went through hell. I was being accused of being his puppet. I was being accused of allowing him to tamper and try and help me win the presidential election. You are literally doing negotiations, having negotiations with Putin with the idea that you're going to deliver peace in Ukraine by excluding the president of Ukraine, by excluding the people of Ukraine. You have yet to say anything negative about Vladimir Putin. You have said a lot of stuff about Zelensky. You've called him a dictator. You sort of walked that back, or attempted to walk that back. But you've already said some pretty horrible things about Zelensky, even to his face. And you've yet to say anything negative about Putin. And he is the one who invaded. So you're trying to tell the Ukrainian people, look, you don't need a security guarantee. You have a Donald Trump guarantee. There are people all over the United States who bought his crap, bought Donald Trump's rubbish. He used to run a university where he gave out fake degrees. Did those people get compensated? Donald Trump, he sold steaks, he went bankrupt. He had casinos and bankrupted casinos. And we're supposed to trust this guy, that Russia respects him. In what way do they respect him? It seems to be just in Donald Trump's mind that Putin respects. Putin only respects one individual, and that's Putin. He doesn't respect anyone else. And you have to respect him, because if you don't, you'll end up having an accident involving a window. Donald Trump is living in a fantasy world. And Zelensky can't be part of that fantasy world because he can't return to his people and say, look, we signed a deal, we don't have a security guarantee, but don't worry, Donald Trump is going to save us if anything goes wrong. Or nothing will go wrong. Putin will not invade because he respects Donald Trump. It's beyond insane. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.
Who could have thought that this simple ear trick could help fight off dementia? Did you know that memory loss is not a condition of the mind? Most people don't.
Hi guys, Donald Trump just threw Reform UK and the Tories under a bus. So as we know, both parties had invested a huge amount of political capital into the idea that Keir Starmer's government had sold the UK down the river on the issue of the Chagos Islands. A negotiation that began under a previous Conservative government over the lease of an Air Force base. Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch would lambast the Prime Minister and his government day in, day out over what they called a terrible deal that wastes a huge amount of money. They'd expected the US President to throw Starmer under a bus over the deal, and this is what he had to say.
Mr. President, can I ask on Chagos, Mr. President? Keir Starmer has signed a deal to give away the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Will you approve that deal?
Well, we're going to have some discussions about that very soon, and I have a feeling it's going to work out very well. They're talking about a very long-term, powerful lease, a very strong lease, about 140 years, actually. That's a long time, and I think we'll be inclined to go along with your country. Yeah, I think it's a little bit early. We have to be given the details, but it doesn't sound bad. Yeah, please.
Okay, once again, it's still early days. They haven't negotiated anything. They haven't really spoken about it. But Trump, not exactly sending a very positive message to Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage, who've been complaining about this for months now. So, look, I don't know whether this will actually go ahead. I don't know whether Trump will veto it. I don't know whether Trump will pull the plug or whether he'll throw a tantrum or what. We don't know about Donald Trump. It's very hard to predict. But it's not a very positive message for Kemi Badenoch, the Conservative, and Nigel Farage and Reform, because they have been saying for some time now, this is a terrible deal, it's a waste of money. How can you talk about increasing military spending if you're going to spend between 9 and 18 billion pounds on this deal to lease this Air Force base? It's bad for UK security because Mauritius is closer to China than it is to the west and stuff like this. So, you know, these are two parties that thought, okay, here's our opportunity to bring down Starmer, really punish him over this deal. And remember, it was the Conservatives that started the negotiations. The Labour government sealed the deal. So the Conservatives aren't really in a position to criticise the negotiations because, once again, they started it. And Nigel Farage now having his dear leader, it seems, at least at the moment, and the recording of this, pick a side, and he didn't pick Nigel Farage's side, he picked Keir Starmer's side. So the message so far, it seems, is quite positive. But once again, Donald Trump is extremely unpredictable, and he could, within 5 minutes, change his mind. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.
Well, Donald Trump made history today, and so today became a day that will live in infamy in presidential history, because today Donald Trump formally rejected the position that every American president has held